Alright guys, so here it is. It is absolutely disgusting what is happening to Reckless Ben right now, that words cannot even describe how corrupt the system truly is. Okay, first of all, if you're not familiar, please go ahead and go on to Asmongold's profile or somebody's profile that looks into the Bricks Minifigs saga and Reckless Ben, exposing them for robbing an 84-year-old man for tens of thousands of dollars. And he's actually on his deathbed. He has cancer and he's going to die. And this collection of Star Wars rare unboxed Star Wars Lego sets were stolen by a $400 million company known as Bricks Minifigs. Okay, so Ben goes out to Provo, Utah, and he starts suing these two store owners and the company themselves for trying to get some of this money back to help this unfortunate old man who was going to use these funds to fund his grandchildren's college expenses. Well, nonetheless, he ends up capturing on video in 4K an entire corruption scheme involving not only the American Fork Police Department and a number of officers. I believe there's only 24 officers in this department. He ends up exposing like half or more than half of the department for absolute corruption. I'm talking literally breaking the law. The police officers are breaking the law in order to arrest this hero known as Reckless Ben. Reckless Ben is 19 years old. He was just simply standing there, going to this person's house, trying to serve them legitimate court documents, when he was arrested by the American Fork Police Department, who verified on the phone that the court documents were legitimate and that they only needed to be simply served to Josh, which is one of the defendants. And instead, they basically avoid, they ask Ben if they can go serve the papers for him. And Ben's like, yeah, this is great. Please do it. I'm just trying to serve him. Mind you, he has a court server in his car, a legitimate court server. The police officer then basically talks him out of seeing the paper, even though he asked to see the paper. He says, that kind of puts me in a tough spot because then you'll be served and then you'll actually have to pay the consequences behind your actions. But instead, he decides, I'm not even going to show him. I'm going to come back and then I'm going to arrest Ben. Well, in a sad turn of events, Judge Joe Graff, or it's Judge Graff, something Graff, in the 4th District Court in Provo, Utah, decided today that he was going to silence Ben by ordering a restraining order from BAM, Bricks Minifigs, to Ben, effectively silencing Ben before the court has heard Ben's side of the story. That is blatantly unconstitutional, okay? Basically, in this random type of thing that a judge is allowed to do, I guess, silence a man by ordering a restraining order without ever hearing Ben's side. And typically when you use one of these type of orders as a judge, the individual that's trying to press the restraining order charges usually has to pay a bond, a significant amount of money, in case the judge's ruling to unconstitutionally silence someone by removing any and all videos related to Bricks Minifigs, but also to not mention them again, to not say anything that could be interpreted as misleading, which is basically, you need to shut up or we're going to throw you in jail. They waived the bond, so they didn't have to spend any money to get this restraining order. And on top of that, they waived the bond because the judge decided, without ever hearing Ben's side of the story, that it was extremely unlikely that Ben was going to win this, and that BAM was very, most likely 99% sure they were going to win. Disgusting, okay? Absolutely disgusting. And they waived the bond because they said that Ben would not suffer from any legitimate loss of funds because of being silenced. So him having to remove all of his YouTube content is not legitimately a loss for Ben. This is the most corrupt, disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life, and I hope Judge Graff gets put in prison for the rest of his miserable life. This scumbag judge is silencing an American citizen who is viewed by 99% of the public as the hero of the story, and 99% of the public thinks that Bricks Minifigs is the villain of the story, thinks that Bam has a very solid case and Reckless Ben's just a troublemaker. Not to mention, he's a Mormon. This whole organization is a Mormon. The judge is a Mormon. Actually, 9 of 10 judges in Provo, Utah are Mormon. And most of the police department is also part of the Mormon church. And guess what? Bricks Minifigs donates a lot of money to the Mormon church. And they're very high up in the Mormon church. They also probably donated a lot of money to the police department. Then the police chief comes out and straight up lies to millions of people and says that he stands by all the actions of the police officers, that they did not illegally redact anything from the body cam footage that came out, and that everything they did was legitimate. Just for thankfully a saint or God working, decided to accidentally leak all of the unredacted body cam footage, which proves that the chief of police tried to cover up literal crimes shown in 4K. Police officers saying, I just want to scare him. And even though we don't have a legitimate reason to arrest him, we're going to arrest him anyways. And we're going to search his car for 3 hours for heroin that nobody ever alleged, that there was zero evidence of, that a police dog went around 3 separate times, okay? And only on the last attempt signaled that there was drugs in the car. So they searched the car for 3 hours. And guess what? There were no drugs in the car. They still arrested him. Then they go and arrest one of Ben's friends, who on his own accord decided to put a sign up on private property that they were given explicit permission by the homeowner to put up a sign. They seized the guy's phone. Then when he tried to simply press the button to lock his phone because the police officers did not have a warrant, they took the phone immediately, said, you tried to delete evidence, and then arrested him for obstructing. It's caught on camera in 4K. These police officers are breaking the law. None of them are in jail. None of them are suspended. Not a single one. Not the police chief. Then, a judge signed a search warrant so that 10 armed thugs with assault rifles pointed at 19-year-old's head for Legos. For the stolen Legos that Ben is literally proving on camera was stolen by the party that he's trying to serve with court documents. A judge said, yep, go in there. Guess what? They didn't even look for Legos because it's a bullshit reason. Complete bullshit reason. So instead, what happened was they just arrested every single person in that Airbnb. The cop is on camera admitting to knowing the guy who owns the Airbnb. They did hydro together, the guy with the Desert Eagle. Now, I don't know if hydro is a drug, but I would not doubt it after seeing so much corruption from these police officers. It is absolutely disgusting. They go in and arrest everyone. They don't find Legos. They don't even search for Legos, even though that was the explicit reason for the search warrant. They're in there for 2 minutes. There's 5 other people in the Airbnb with Ben, and even though the warrant is not written for them, they have not committed a single crime, and the officers cannot even call them out by name. They are referring to these individuals by their hair. They're all arrested. They've never committed a crime. Not a single crime. They are just in an Airbnb with someone who allegedly committed a crime, and they're all arrested for it. The chief of police knew all this information. They tried so hard to illegally redact all the information. Then the stupid bimbo cunt that redacted the information is on camera talking to Ben, saying that they did not redact anything to protect the police officers. Then when he calls them out because they actually made a mistake before they leaked all the unredacted police body cam footage, he proves that they did redact information that was not trying to protect the victim. They were just protecting the police officers. She says that did not happen. Like, the level of gaslighting. This lady, she's not in jail. Talk about disgusting. This is one of the most sickening cases I've ever seen in my life. And here's an angle that's not even talked about. The same judge. Now, I thought, oh my God, all the cops are corrupt in Utah. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it in the description. I interview 2 of the officers from the American Fork Police Department. They admit to me how corrupt they were, and they weren't even involved in the reckless Ben situation. And they admit to me on camera that they are also corrupt. Nobody's arrested. Nobody's even put on administrative leave. Nobody's being investigated at this police department. The police chief is corrupt. All the officers are corrupt. Now we have a corrupt judge signing corrupt, unconstitutional warrants, silencing an American who has the freedom of speech just because he's a Mormon scumbag. In the Mormon church, they're all involved in this. Now, I'm not saying every Mormon's bad, but I promise you, there is extreme corruption coming out of the 4th District, Provo, Utah Mormon Church, as well as the 4th District Court and the American Fork Police Department. It is absolutely disgusting. Then, guess what? The same judge residing over the case against Reckless Ben, doing all this shady, unconstitutional stuff, is the same judge that is assigned to the Tyler Robinson Charlie Kirk case. This is unbelievable. Now, everybody with a brain, anyone with even a modicum of common sense, knows that if Tyler Robinson was the one who killed Charlie Kirk, he did not act alone, that Israel is 100% involved, that Erica Kirk herself is involved one way or another, whether it be the cover-up or the actual situation that caused Charlie to be killed, as well as some of the administration inside of, well, the American administration, the Israel administration, and some of the officials inside of Turning Point USA, like Andrew Colvett, and, oh my, it is so disgusting, the level of corruption we are witnessing right now. I voted for Donald Trump because obviously Kamala Harris was a no-brainer. You would be a retard to vote for her. You were given a choice between a demon and the actual devil. And now Trump has proven to be extremely corrupt, to where now, even though I am a hardcore Republican, if I could go back in time, I would have voted for Kamala at this point. I never thought I would say that in my life. Trump is so corrupt. The fact that he has not even said anything about the Charlie Kirk situation, and that he has not involved himself in clearly illegal activities going on with the judges in Utah and the police department. Their own citizens of Provo, Utah, are in committee meetings right now calling on their local government to investigate their police department, saying they are disgusted at the actions of their police department. They are scared in their own city of their own police department. It is absolutely disgusting, the level of corruption we are witnessing right now. And the world is too cowardly to do anything about it. Because guess what? There is literally millions of us. The Bill of Rights specifically grants us the right to overthrow a corrupt government who is no longer working for the people. There is not just a little bit of corruption going on in Provo, Utah. It's everywhere. Every police department in every district in the United States is home to some level of corruption. Every judge in every district in the United States is culpable and responsible for some level of corruption. Every politician, every congressman, they're all corrupt from the lowest level employees to the President of the United States. Where's the outrage? Where is the 50,000 people protesting in Provo, Utah right now? There were hundreds of thousands of people who protested the death of a literal criminal who was responsible for murdering someone, or responsible for almost murdering a pregnant woman. And yet there is this extreme level of corruption shown by everyone in the world, caught in 4K, and there's not 500,000 people marching downtown Provo, Utah, demanding their government arrest the police chief, all of the officers, as well as getting this judge out of the picture. I thought for a moment maybe the judge was going to catch all this corruption in the Charlie Kirk case. But now I know he's corrupt. If you haven't looked yet, please go look up the Reckless Ben case. You can still watch it on Asmongold's channel, which Asmongold's a retard, simply because most of his takes are common sense, low IQ. They're good takes, but it's a very low bar to have those takes. Then he sits there and criticizes Candace Owens, saying that she's a retard. Anyone who believes anything she says is a retard, which is just disgusting. Okay, Asmongold is not a genius by any stretch of the imagination. Now, on the other hand, Candace Owens, I guarantee you, is at minimum 15 points of IQ higher than Asmongold. Guarantee. But nonetheless, you can at least go look at the video footage for yourself. I'm not angry and just saying all this stuff for no reason. It is true and it is disgusting. That's all for today, folks. Please like, please subscribe, please. I need to be able to get my voice heard. YouTube is trying so hard to censor me and limit me. I need this so bad. Just a small audience. Like it, share it, comment, please. Thank you.